with that said, I accidentally stumbled into prevention as a college student. I had no idea that I was going to start a nationwide movement. A scrawny, nerdy kid from Oshkosh, Wisconsin is going to throw parties all across the country without drugs and alcohol. How were hundreds of students going to go to this and us get sponsored by brands like Pizza Hut and Red Bull and Subway? Like, this doesn't seem possible. You could not tell me that that would be my future, but here we are today.
Wild.
This is the life that we're living. And here's how it started. I had made a decision my freshman year of college. I'm not going to drink or smoke. This is because I had lost my uncle to addiction and I was very future focused. I was paying for my own schooling. So I worked 3 jobs in the summer to pay for my first year of college. And I thought, if addiction could happen to my Uncle Whit, one of the smartest guys that I know, mechanical engineer, great mind, great friends, if addiction could claim his life, it could absolutely claim mine too. And I don't want to mess up this future thing that I have going on. On top of that, I just hadn't heard any great stories about people using drugs or alcohol and good things happening from it. I'd heard the negative ones quite often. So I had made that decision for me. And like most students who make that decision, it can feel isolating at times. And I remember stepping onto my college campus, feeling like I am the only one who has chosen to make a healthy choice around this topic. And in fact, for 2 years, I didn't meet a single person who said, hey, Jake, no worries. Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke. That's fine. Let's hang out, do something different. Instead, I would hear things like, wait, you don't smoke at all? You don't drink at all? Why? What's wrong with you? This is Wisconsin, Jake. This is college. This is what we do. And so it just was more isolating until I learned to stop telling people. To make a long story short, eventually I read this statistic. It's a social norming statistic. This was back in 2014. It said something around the lines of 1 out of every 3 college students was just like me. Yet after 2 years, I hadn't met a single one of them. And I thought to myself, if this statistic is true, where's the proof? You know, like, you're saying the statistic is true, but like social norms, but where's the social proof? Everyone is going out to parties and bars on the weekends, hanging out, you know, partying and risking their lives. I didn't want to do it, but what's the alternative? And I really just decided if there was going to be an alternative, maybe I have to create it. And so I started throwing parties on my college campus in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So if you've heard of Oshkosh Bagosh, overalls and baby clothes, that is the town that I grew up in. And party culture, just like any college that you go to. And so I started hosting these.
Which is crazy. Like, they used to call it Sloshkosh, or they call Oshkosh Sloshkosh, because that's how, obliterated that people would get.
Yeah, it was disgusting walking around the streets on the weekends. But if you live in a college town, you get this. Like, you see it. And on this campus, I was about to throw parties without any drugs or alcohol. This was my genius idea. And I remember going out to on campus one day. We didn't have like a club booth or anything. It was me and a friend with a notebook and a pen. And we met 129 people in one day. And we invited them to a house party that does not serve alcohol, no drugs, no THC, nothing. Now, I want you, do me a favor, everybody unmute. Or should we do the chat? We'll do the chat. Right out of 129 people, guess how many wanted to come to a sober house party on a college campus? You're not going to hurt my feelings, by the way.
Right.
Just what do you think? How many people out of 129 wanted to do that?
22,
100,
100, 75. You guys are nice.
50. Said 5. Yeah,
it's 5.
Yeah, 701.
Oh man.
51. Okay. 101.
101.
There you
Got
go.
it.
All right. Y'all are optimistic. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder who's done the math. They're like, all right, 30% of
Right,
129. Some people, I love doing this in presentations. People are like, hold up, 0, 2. We're like, I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. It was me, my buddy, and my mom showed up. Like, that's who it was.
A bunch of Christian students came.
Hey, right? That'd be fun.
That was 25 of them.
So at the end of the day, out of 129, 9 of them said no.
Come on, right?
I see the faces. You're like,
Yeah.
oh. 9 of them said no, which means we had 120 phone numbers of students who said, yes, invite me to your house party that doesn't serve. And listen, we told them there wouldn't be alcohol there. It wasn't a surprise. There was no bait and switch. And I was thinking like, okay, first thought, these are fake phone numbers. Like they just feel bad for me. I have no friends. Like that's option one. Option two, they're just being polite, you know. They don't know how to say no to someone. But either way, 120 phone numbers. I've got to do this. And I've never hosted a party before. So we get those 5-gallon like jugs you have at sporting practice. We get 2 of those. We fill one with grape Kool-Aid, one with cherry Kool-Aid. We get like a beer pong setup. We're going to play water pong. And then our friend Brian is going to DJ this epic party we're putting together. And the night comes around, we send out the text. 120 people get the invite. And here's what I know. 30 or 40 people are going to show up to this thing. If a third of the people are actually going to follow through. So we're going to have it in my friend Steve's apartment. It's pretty good size for 30, 40 people. And we send out the text. DJ's set up. We've got our Kool-Aid and we've got water pong. And we send it out. To make a long story short, I remember opening the door to our own party we were throwing. And there was a sea full of college students. 85 people showed up from that list of 120, and they are jam-packed inside Steve's tiny apartment. And it was one of the most awkward things you've ever seen in your life. People can't even move. Our Brian is DJing, he's having a good time. Everyone else is trying to move, but they can't, like, they're trying to dance, but they can't move at all. And one guy recognizes us and says, hey, is this your party? Like, yeah, what's up? The Kool-Aid's gone. This party sucks. He leaves, and every single person follows him out of the party. And it is done just like that. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the beginning of my prevention journey. It was when social norms became social proof that students actually do desire a place to have fun, make friends, and feel good without using mind-altering substance. We just have to get good at this. See, something that we share in our presentations is that in life, you can take shortcuts or develop skill sets. Shortcut is the easy, quick way out. But the thing about shortcuts is sometimes they can cut your life short. Using the drugs to get a feeling, you know, to get a high. It's short-term satisfaction, but it can't serve you for your long-term goals. So I knew that we need to get good at this. And you all on this call are getting good at your craft on engaging youth people, like in youth, in drug prevention, and they want it badly. The end of this story is that I got to throw parties all across the country with students, seeing that this works everywhere. There are students eager to pick up this cause because they don't want to sacrifice their friends or their future in order to have a good time. If given the opportunity, they want something better and they're ready to change the world. So our parties now are hundreds of students. We teach them to get sponsors, to have fun. Our job as ambassadors in the adult arena is really to work with adults like you that can harness the power of youth development and youth engagement and equip them to go out and change the world. And that's kind of what we did at CADCO. We presented in a youth workshop we've been doing for years. It's how do we leverage youth voices to make a difference? Something that started as a college movement and now has trickled down all the way to middle school students. Yeah. So that's my mid-sized story.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that bananas though? Like
bananas.
Slosh Kosh, 129 people and 120 of them said yes. Like I'm still so blown away by that. Absolutely blown away. But it's so real. It's like amazing just to see even just the community rally behind them, these big companies, right? That he was talking about, to want to sponsor something like that. That's exactly what starts to happen when we empower youth to make the difference amongst their peers. You know what I'm saying? That like people around the community get wind of it and are like, yo, I want to support them in what they're doing. And so that's like when we work with people like yourselves and the students that you guys serve, like, you know, it's really empowering those students to be the ones that are taking it out, you know, to be the ones that are really like engaging their peers to do so. Because I know for myself, like Jake and I, what's amazing is that our stories are very different. He made the decision early on to keep making a healthy decision for himself. For me, on the other hand, I started at an early age. I started using, and for me, it was with my dad's permission. At 12 years old, my dad offered me to drink with him. And it's not just a Latino thing. It's very prevalent in a Latino culture, sure, but I've realized that it crosses so many different cultures. You know, it's the same in so many different cultures. There might be some nuances and whatnot, but it's the same in so many different cultures. So when I realized that, I'm like, man, you know, we've got to. There was a couple of statistics that popped out to me. Is like one of them. Like if you start drinking before the age of 15, you're 5 times more likely to struggle with alcohol. If my dad would have realized that, I think he would have maybe done something different, but he was trying to bond with me in the same way that students try to bond with one another. And if that's the only way they think, oh, we got to have a good time, then we got to drink, we got to smoke. And matter of fact, that was my mentality. I thought the only way we can party is by having substances involved. You know, so now like showing something different, you know, that's what really has like made a major difference. And knowing that, but not just knowing it, but getting other people involved and showing it to them as well, especially the students. So when we come out and like speak to students or anything like that, we can totally reach the different type of demographics. Some of those that have continue to make the healthy decision for themselves. They've never drank, they've never smoked. For those who have made a decision that you know has put their health at risk in some way, shape, or form, we can reach them still by sharing my story as well. So it's just so incredible, like the way that we get to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of you, like, you might be able to identify with one of our stories. You know, maybe you got into this work because you also, from an early age, maybe you lost someone, maybe it was a friend, a family member, or something like that, and you were like, hey, I need to get like this word out to people. Maybe others, it's like, it's because what I went through, you know, that I decided to get into this work. So we can totally identify with that. I'm going to share our screen for a second so we can dive in. But as I do that, I want to pause. Is there anything, let me see, Bernadette said, or Charlene said, oh, you guys are planning to do something similar to that as a tailgate.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Give us a call if you want some tips.
Yeah,
we're going to do a Q&A later.
Yes.
Ask us anything.
Totally. Yeah. Youth may not realize that partying without alcohol and drugs is even an option. That is so true. That is so true. All right, let's see. Can y'all see my screen here? See it all good?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, very good.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, to start out, we're going to give you a quick kind of slides and visuals about who we are and how we specifically work with coalitions just like you all over the country. Right away, you kind of know us. The only one that you haven't met is Brian Wright, who is our curriculum coordinator. And I'll just brag him up a little bit. He is just an incredible mind when it comes to putting together life-changing curriculum that we don't need to be there for, that you can implement in your community. And when I first, found out about him, he had this social media and sexting curriculum, and he was being awarded an award in London for his work here in the United States and spreading it across the globe. And so when we were asking after presentations, people would come up and say things like, hey, this was incredible. We haven't heard like people do prevention like you two do it. How can we keep your message going here? Because as you know, the one and done presentation is not going to change the world. Is we have to reinforce the message. Yes, we can plant some seeds. Yes, we can change some minds and perspectives and challenge it. And we can even use this as a spark for change. That's how I view a presentation. It's a spark. But if you want to keep that flame lit and to keep making a difference, we've got to reinforce the message and keep it going. So Brian is incredible at that. He helped us develop our curriculum that we're going to tell you more about later. But this is the general. We're a small team, but we're growing fast because demand for the program has just picked up. So we're training more people to join our team as like right now. Oh, you want to be?
Boom.
clicker. You want to talk a little bit about just the 4 options?
Yeah. So as you see, we have a few different options in the way that we work with a lot of our coalition partners. So we come through for presentations. We help them to the students and your youth coalition to throw those peer-led events. That way they get their peers involved and all that good stuff. The cool thing behind that, you might notice that one of the first things that we do is help them throw an awesome, fun event. And that is by design, because if we can get them to have fun first, then I know a lot of us have the goals of like getting them to help us change policy and so on and so forth. That comes as a byproduct because they're already pumped up about, hey, this actually works. We actually can have fun without turning to substances. So that's a really, really big part of, just the work that we do. Also giving them the soft skills, as they go out and present these different ideas to businesses and community partners that are there infused in your community. So peer-led events. We also help the students and your coalitions with media. So we were talking about a media package earlier, but we have a media package. Essentially, it gets tough. It gets really, really tough for a lot of coalitions to have the content that they need to share the messaging over and over throughout their
it's another full-time job. Like how the big scope of your job is. It's like you're a volunteer coordinator, you're fundraiser, you're an event planner, and you're doing community outreach. It's huge. Like hats off to everyone in this room because you're doing all this thing. So we have found ways to make your life easier. The media package, how does it like make their life easier?
It's so like we have our 1-day production, right? Where we go in and we just ask your students a ton of questions with the camera rolling. And because we do that, we do it in a way that like it gets them talking about to their peers really about, these prevention messages that we want them to hear from people that they know and they love, so that is something that we do to give you a year's worth of content that you can post on your social media channels. So that media package is definitely awesome.
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah. And then like Jake mentioned, the curriculum, the curriculum is our way to we might get your students like pumped up about prevention, wanting to get a part of your youth coalition and all of that. The curriculum is helping that to continue to keep the messaging in the forefront of their mind, to keep the conversation going, and so that is what it's designed to do. It's evidence-based. So we make sure that we infuse all of the things that we know really works with it.
Yeah. And you can think of it as if, like, even if you don't hire us, right? If we don't come and speak at your school, you're going to have that same content within our curriculum to use with 18 different activities. And so a lot of them are pulling different ones. Again, it is evidence-based, so you can measure everything that you're doing. Even if you only implement, this is the fun part people love that are in your position, even if you only implement a couple of the activities, you can measure that specific activity and what it did with your students. And so we'll share a little bit more about that later. You'll see in all these, when we're involved, our number one unique thing that we do that you'll find is we make it fun. Like that is priority number one. You're not going to get anything dry, anything monotone. Like this is going to be really fun for them. They're going to be engaged. They're going to be yelling, having fun. And then also it needs to always end in something social, because if we're making healthy choices, but we're isolated, it's not a sustainable solution. We have to be building community around making healthy choices if we're going to keep doing this work.
Yeah. And that was like part of, Elisa had said it earlier as she was introducing us, like it's energizing, it's engaging, right? And that's like when we can make that fun, energizing, and engage the students with one another, especially like at CADCA, they're meeting one another, people that they've never met before, their peers that they have never met before, and we are infusing them again with soft skills. How many of you, maybe you've come across this? Your youth coalition is comprised of maybe a group of individuals, but they're all friends. And so once they graduate, all of a sudden you're back to square one, right? You're like needing to find more people to get into it. right? Like that happens so often, what we hear so often with a lot of our community partners. And so the way, like when we teach these students their soft skills, now they're able to reach down to outside of their friend group to get other people involved and create a more sustainable model, where it's not just reliant on one group that they graduate and boom, they're off, and all of a sudden we're back at square one, but they're getting freshmen involved and sophomores and juniors and so forth. So yeah.
The next one's a video.
Oh yeah, let's get
Ready for it.
Say what's up? Most of the work done in alcohol prevention is teaching students to just say no, and that doesn't work. Now remember that first time. It wasn't like anything crazy happened. Yes, I felt the effects, but it wasn't like I needed to be rushed to the hospital to get my stomach pumped out by any means. And so what happened instead was I felt a little bit more comfortable.
Jake White teaches kids across the country how to have a good time. He says his message is not necessarily about drinking.
Vive18 is a movement of young people who are throwing positive, sober events for their peers.
They were so interested in everything they had to say. They were so personable.
I think what's so unique about our platform is that we give students an actual opportunity that the students can get behind and they can stay involved in. They don't need to use mind-altering substances in order to fit in, make friends, or have fun.
And this Vive18 presentation was the best thing I ever seen.
Packed in there, wall to wall. The DJ's going, and everybody's like,
their ability to get the students engaged and writing things down, even though they were surrounded by all their friends.
And then they did breakout sessions with students that were interested.
I think he's going to be a game changer for this whole county. Oh my God. Welcome now. Welcome now. Welcome now.
Literally, Jake's dance moves get me every single time. I think just when I thought I've seen all of his dance moves, he comes out with something new.
My skills are here. My confidence is here. It's always entertainment.
Oh yeah.
So what you'll notice from our presentation. So what people normally ask is, how long is the presentation? So schools you partner with, right? They're always asking that. 45 minutes to an hour is ideal. So the question is, how much impact can we truly have from a presentation in 45 minutes to an hour? This is what we've found. We've seen that 20% increase in the students who want to ask for help for mental health and substance use. This is after the presentation. We also see a 10% increase in the understanding that THC and marijuana products are harmful and addictive. Because going in, a lot of times they think that it's not addictive, and then it is not harmful, that it's like a healthy coping mechanism for them. We are working on our evaluation thing too, to try to figure out like the other different things that we can measure, but we realize for what it is as a 45-minute to an hour presentation, this is a good place to start on how we measure it. Another thing that we ask is, we always ask for feedback from the audience. And quick tip for everybody here, when you are asking for feedback, this is what we found to be really effective. Before the end of our presentation, not at the very end when people leave, don't do a survey at the very end. People are checked out, they're done, they're ready to move on. Before we close the presentation, we offer a QR code. We give them 2 minutes to complete a survey, and then we play music while they're doing it. So say, take out your phone, everybody show me your phone. Great, use this QR code, take the next 2 minutes. We play some music, then in 2 minutes, we cut it off. And then we close the presentation, because they're going to remember the last thing they do. So you're still going to close with that high energy. You're going to recap the points you made, and you're going to leave them on a note of inspiration that life gets better without drugs and alcohol, and they can continue making smart, healthy choices. And if they're not, making that decision, that they can always ask for help from the people around them if they need it, and point them to those resources. So just like a quick little tip for y'all there, when we do this, we have found 94% of the student audiences we work with, 94% say, we love this and we would even attend it again. Like, we want to see this again, or these people again. And that's good. That's like a vanity metric, but
it makes us feel good.
Yeah. It's good enough to say we should continue doing our jobs, and we don't necessarily need to stop this activity, because the students are enjoying it and it's making an impact. So that's some good things that we can measure as well.
Totally. Let's see. Boom.
Ooh, peer-led events. All right, let's share some stories. So this is what's been really, really fun for us, like getting to see the outcome. Like what happens after we leave? What happens for the sustainability of the program? And this ranges from some schools that work with us and coalitions are like, we want to use the whole thing. We want your Vive 18 playbook on how to start a club. We want to follow your model for hosting events and getting students involved. To other ones that just say, no, we've got a plan. We just want you to hype up our plan. So just help us invite students to our youth prevention club, and then we can work with them because we've got the foundation set. So some of the things that happened this year, we're super proud of. Out in Arkansas, we helped launch 3 new youth prevention clubs in middle schools.
Come on.
We partnered with the high school and the prevention club that they had at the high school. It was just 5 students, but we did a leadership workshop with them, did the presentation, and then did a leadership workshop with the new middle schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
And the high schoolers were kind of like the buddy.
Yep. Yeah, that one was so cool because it was they treated it as a summit. So they brought all they brought all the middle schools and their in their neighboring counties and whatnot all to their school and hosted it. And I mean, it just went phenomenal because right after our main presentation for all of those middle schools, for those that were interested in getting involved, they stayed behind. Yeah. They totally stay behind. And so they got a leadership workshop just for them. That way it can get them started out on their campuses.
Yeah. And it was so cool to see the high school students like develop those leadership skills with us in the room as well, because then they were practicing their leadership skills right there.
I got to brag on those students too, because they had started 5 months before we got there. 5 months. You know, and they like that was huge for them to get the turnout that they had. And not only that, like if they wouldn't have told us they were there for 5 months, I would have thought that they've been doing it for like 5 years because they were just so great at it. Yeah.
I love that point because oftentimes in this work, we see a lot of students that aren't making great choices, and it can kind of feel like sad. Like we're in this work and it's sad, but we also get to see the students that are like ready to make a difference. Yeah. I think his name was Kyle Evett. If anybody knows him, you can ask him about it. They've hired us again to come do the work again with them during Red Ribbon Week. So we're super pumped about that. Some other things that you'll see on here is just the student events, the ideas that they have. Mm-hmm. So our school out in Tennessee, that they basically started, they didn't have a prevention club. So they just started a Vive 18 club. They called it that. They used our branding. And they're basically like the governing social body of the school. So they work on school culture, they host events. They did a turkey bowl, a co-ed flag football game. They had a movie night last weekend, which they infused with drug prevention facts and stuff like that. But you can see just like the range of what students' ideas that they have. My favorite one I've seen, they just set up a 200-foot slip and slide down a hill in their town. And that was their hook to bring people in and have fun, and then they could bring the message that they needed during that time as well. So
yeah, the beauty behind even like that slip and slide, like they were able to, because they developed those soft skills. I keep going back to soft skills because man, it is so important. But they developed those soft skills, went to their local hardware store to get all the tarps donated to them. So that event that was so much fun was like nearly nothing for them because they got everything that they needed donated to them.
The next one, I believe, is a video. Give you a quick preface. We went to a very rural community in Wisconsin, did kind of a similar model to Kansas. Different middle schools showed up. At the end, when they stayed for the training, we gave them we basically facilitated a Shark Tank competition. So they all put together an event idea. They competed for a $500 prize, but they all got the training. So now their events are going to rotate between the 3 schools, and they all go to each other's events to support each other. And yeah, super cool. This next one you'll see is the very first event that they did, called an Aloha party. So a Hawaiian glow party. So check this out.
Instead of aloha, a gloha.
They're so good.
We're planning a party. It's a sober party. Glow in the dark Hawaiian.
It's gonna be a fun party for only middle schoolers.
We're 1 hour away from our Aloha sober party. But I'm having a great time. Like all the activities are so fun. Go to the graveyard, play with glow sticks, play around, everything. I'm losing my voice.
And we got really dizzy that we fell and we couldn't see a single thing.
We had lots of sponsors. We had free drinks and pizza, and it was a ton of fun. And we should do this stuff again because it was a lot of fun. Fun planning it, just like making something where we can all come together, stay sober, and have a fun time. It's awesome, and then you can there's lots of possibilities to that.
So I facilitated the head, shoulders, knees, and two. I did a dance competition, and then I was in charge of the playlist for our music.
I think it would just be fun to, promote sobriety and stuff.
It was fun because I just went up to people and I just asked them, do you want us to like sponsor our sober party? And they're like, yeah, sure. Like they want people to be involved in this community and have fun like this.
To be like really come into life, and it was just really fun to plan it and like set everything up.
Aloha, glow in the middle, aloha.
The coolest thing is in the same semester that they hosted this event, like we said, this is the hook, right? This gets them some confidence. They got to build an event, to get sponsors, to speak in front of adults. They went to the Capitol to advocate for prevention, resources, for mental health this same semester. So this is like, we emphasize the fun, but realize that your goals and objectives come soon after this because they start getting ignited by the cause and the mission. So pretty sweet.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Love it. Ooh.
Some of the things that kids can get into just to like flip the page and just like be able to get out of the unhealthy habits and out of the bad habits. It's just like be able to talk to people, have people you trust too, and then also get involved. I mean, there's plenty of things, even though we're a small community, there are plenty of things that you can do. No matter who you are, what your last name is, it doesn't matter. You get to pick what you want for your future.
So that just gives you an idea of like the type of content that we create for the media package as well. So wild how like that post there, or that video, I should say, that they're going to be able to use that for even years on end, especially because that person will be on campus at her high school. She's a sophomore this year, so literally for years, people will be able to still recognize her,
Yeah.
Amazing.
And for middle schoolers to look up to that high schooler, stuff like that. So yeah, whenever we work with a different community, Tomas is he won't say this, but he's an incredible videographer. And he's just so talented at pulling information from young people and making them feel comfortable around the camera. So he'll often give them prompts of things to say, like, hey, here are some current statistics around drug use. Will you tell us this? And they can, give us content, and they're being like an actor or an actress. Other times he's prompting them with real stories from their life or real advice that they would give their younger self. And so he's got all of these like little nuances that he knows how to do to bring out this incredible peer-led content. And all you have to do is post it. I loved the video that you made for our clients out in Oklahoma. It was like, they did Kentucky. They did, he made a how-to video as well. Like, okay, I realized that you might not be up to date on everything social media. So here's exactly what to click on once you get in your Instagram profile to make sure that you maximize your views. And so the algorithm prioritizes your videos. So he's making it extremely easy. All you have to do is post it, and he's going to help you get more traffic with it. So pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I know you work really hard. It takes you like a month to edit all those videos. So it's awesome.
So worth it, though. So
Yeah.
worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Yeah. And we'll kind of speed through these.
Yeah.
We want to leave 10 minutes for Q&A. Our curriculum, basically there's 18 activities and 6 phases. It is evidence-based, and we've been using it for prevention and early diversion. So the students who are not addicted, but hey, they made a mistake, you know, they used something like that. And so taking our same platform and our same unique value of making prevention fun and engaging and social, we've developed this program, and we can send you this information if you're interested. We'll give you a way to request that at the end. For the outcomes, the biggest outcomes we've seen from this are significant increases in them defining their values, protecting them with boundaries, building self-confidence, having resilience to pressure, and then having coping skills, knowing that drugs are not a great coping skill or not a sustainable one, and then finding new ones.
Yeah, I love it.
And this is new. It's super pumped. We are hosting our very first youth leadership conference out in Arizona. I'll speed through this. Hey, if you guys want to come, that is great. But it's a one-day full conference. We did this because our reviews were so incredible from the youth at CADCA that our peers out in Arizona were saying, hey, we couldn't go to CADCA. What do you have for us? So like, let's just do it. Let's do a full day conference, like literally 9 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. at night, with public speaking training. Some of you are like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. We're doing leadership content for them. They're going to plan an event while we're there with them so they can take back to your community. A little bit of addressing about advocacy and then peer influence. The coolest thing too is we're going to infuse Tomas's media package. So they're actually going to create PSAs and messaging while they're there. So it's a working conference, which is why we feel so confident doing a full day.
Yeah.
And then we're going to end with a giant party, because why not? Let's go.
Right. Come on.
So that's good. That'll be December 2nd. It's on our website if you go to Vive18.com. We've got students from Washington and Missouri coming, some from Illinois. Like, we did not expect it. We thought it was just going to be Arizona. So we're super pumped.
Definitely.
That leads us to this. If you're like, hey, this sounds cool, we want to stay in touch with you, the easiest way for you to do this is to scan this QR code or go to vive18.com/intro and give us your information. And there's going to be a checkbox of which things you're interested in, so that when we follow up with you, we can give you all that information. So just in good fashion, take 2 minutes, do this now.
We forgot the music.
All right, here we go.
Boom, 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 boom.
Whenever you're done, just write done in the chat so that we know.
Yeah. We had missed to what Naomi said. This was great content, will be big help to start up continuing youth coalition. Yes, Naomi. Love it. Dominic, that was quick.
Hey, my new song I'm obsessed with.
Yeah. Show them some dance moves.
Man, no, they gotta pay for that. Dance moves?
Let's see, Bernadette. Sorry, someone came to the office, so I missed a bit. Oh, no worries.
Everything, Bernadette.
Yeah, you know it all.
Drum circles.
Right.
All right, how we looking?
Sweet,
you,
getting
Rachel.
some duns.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Dominic. And if you don't want to fill it out, you just say done. Thank you, Joni. Awesome.
Selena, Elizabeth.
All right. In respect of your time, we're going to move on. The last thing, if you like podcasts, this is our podcast. I interview different people in our field every Monday, come out with a new episode to inspire you for the week and get you pumped up, learning new things from each other in the field. So feel free to do that. That QR goes to that page on our website. But before we do a little bit of Q&A, I just want to encourage you. We have this new Vive18 ambassador program where we work with high school students and they help us with our movement, helps us stay relevant, give us ideas. But most importantly is they highlight the work that they're doing in your communities, and they can only do it with someone like you.
Yep.
We cannot sustainably be in every community. It doesn't work. So pouring into you and what you're doing, being able to assist you in building a strong youth presence so you get real results, not only is going to help your data and your impact, but it's going to help your funding. It's going to help everything. So like, this is us doing our best work, putting our best foot forward. And with that said, like, we would do anything to help y'all out. So if you have any questions or any ideas for us, we are an open book, and we would love to be of service to you to make sure that you are doing an incredible work in your community. So let's do a little bit of Q&A. Yeah. What comes to mind after all of that?
Yeah, and feel free to come off mute, ask us a question, or yeah.
Do that. Amanda, is there anything in the chat that came up? Not yet. Okay.
I think my question is, where do we find the price list?
Yeah, we can give you an overview of prices, and then when you fill out that form, I will send you all the documents, because you'll probably forget what I say right now after you get busy after this. So packages start at $4,900 per day, and that's for a speaker. That gets you up to 3 presentations in a school, and then also an optional leadership workshop or like a parent night for the community. What you'll find is, if that's too much money, what we encourage people to do, split it up into 2 schools. So we can do 1 presentation at one school, 1 presentation at another school. Y'all can split the cost, and then we can still offer one of those extras. But you're basically just sacrificing one of the student presentations to allow us time to get over there, set everything up again. If you want to work with both Tomas and I being there together in the same community, we found that such a fantastic option to offer our diversity, not only in ourselves, but in our stories. That is $7,900 per day. And that includes, both of those prices include all of our travel costs as well. So there's nothing extra that you pay. Yeah. It is exactly that amount. You'll see on the sheet that we send you, the more schools we can work with, the price goes down. Yeah. So each partner saves money. And I will tell you this, because a lot of people don't know this, do not pay for everything yourself. Do not spend your hard-earned DFC dollars on all of us, because schools have money. And if they say no, it's because we haven't portrayed the value to them. That is the hard work. Portray the value, tie it to their goals. And here are 2 things to write down. If you don't know about Title I funding, write down Title I. If you haven't heard about Title IV funding, write down Title IV. Title IV is to improve school culture. Every school gets it. Title I funding is for the school that says, hey, we have no money. How dare you ask us to pay for anything? They get special funding, and you can request up to $10,000 to $30,000 that is set aside and given only to schools that have 40% of their students or more are on free or reduced lunch or from low-income families. So please write those down. Your work depends on you developing partners. So don't pay for everything. You have to get this part done.
Yeah. And even some bonuses as well, as like the PTO, they typically have funding and are willing as well. Also like your local Kiwanis Club or Lions Club and Elks Club and all that good stuff as well. They love.
Elks Club just donated $30,000 to implement
30.
Because we didn't realize this, they're invested in drug prevention. They have a curriculum, they're investing in their community, all that good stuff. So reach out to all those people.
Yeah, great question. Did we that was everything? Yeah.
So is that, and then the media package is $7,900. And that is basically because this guy's got to work for a month to fulfill it to you, as giving you that year worth of content.
Years worth. Yep.
Yeah. So we love to double that up, like come in for a speaking engagement. While we're there, get to interview all your students. Really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. No worries, Amy.
Bye, Amy. It is 2 minutes. Yeah. If anybody needs to go, do not feel like you're being disrespectful. We appreciate y'all coming. If anybody wants to stay in the call, we can hang out for another 15 minutes or so if y'all have any extra questions. But thank you all. If you need to go, let us know. That's great.
Let's see. Can organizations apply for the Title IV or I funding, or how do we find out if a school qualifies and or has already applied?
Dr. Kristen Clancy, great question. So I just did a podcast on this. So if you want the long answer, go to vive18.com/podcast. And basically anyone can apply for it. If you are serving schools, you can apply for it. And if you're a nonprofit, so you would fall under that. And yes, you can. You can apply for Title IV, I believe, maybe both. But if you also just Google that, it'll have a fact sheet. But you can hear more on the podcast too.
Yeah. Sweet. Any other questions?
Jake, I don't have a question, and no, he didn't pay me to get on this, but I have used Jake previously. We had him come to a small rural community here in Northeast Oklahoma in April. And one of the success stories is we had about 4 youth in our middle school program. After he did this, he really got kids involved and engaged. And in August, I think we had 26 come out to be a part of our organization. But one thing, Jake has kept in contact with me since April. I am part of that networking call that he does. So when you hear the prize, you don't just get him for that. The thing that I was most impressed with is in between the presentations, he stayed. I went and ate lunch somewhere. He stayed and hung out with the kids. Like, who does that? Like, he was truly engaged on getting to know them and really investing in them. And I cannot speak highly enough of him. We still keep in contact. So it wasn't like he did his job and see you later. He continuously checks in. How's it going? You know, anything I can help with. We are trying to put together a prevention thing for Oklahoma youth. And I've already reached out to them about doing either some of it or all of the presentations. And so if you guys haven't used them, you can definitely reach out to me. I filled out a questionnaire earlier for someone on a thing, but truly makes a difference and gets the kids involved. I will say our middle school did a lot better with him than our high school. I think high school is just kind of one of those hit or miss, but it was super relevant, and I can't wait for him to come out with some elementary curriculum. I've been on him about that, doing an elementary presentation, but it's really, really a great thing. And I'm a huge advocate for them. So
thank you, Miss. Thank you so much for saying that. We feel the love.
Yeah.
And you're right. Whenever we go somewhere and speak, we're not divas. Like, our job is to make your life easier and then also to be there for the students. So we try to stay as long as we can. Mm-hmm. We're going to play basketball. We're going to talk with the students. We're going to eat lunch with them. We're not like hopping onto the airport unless it's like Red Ribbon Week and we literally have to go.
Yeah, Red Ribbon Week, definitely.
Yeah, but every other time it's like, hey, you have invested in us. We want to invest in you. And so we love keeping in touch with you, and we love having a relationship with Misty, with all of you. So like, yeah, thank you for saying that, Misty. I'm glad that it's appreciated, because we work really hard to do that. And yeah, we feel the love.
Mm-hmm.